Hello everyone and welcome back to Jim's Code Corner. My name is Jim Belcher. Um, Today we're going to continue working on our Cardstox project. We now have our CI working. We have SonarQube up and running with our project. Well, I guess one of the services. Um, Today we're going to continue we're actually going to, I think, finish setting up our card service. What we're going to do is actually going to set up the database, and we're going to implement a database migration system. We're actually going to use Liquibase. So I'm going to show you how to get that all set up, and let's get started. So the first thing I'm actually going to do before I do anything within my code is I need to create a database. Tabs here because I don't need any of this stuff. Alright, and I use MySQL Workbench, which is a nice little interface, so I don't have to go through the command line, which I don't mind going through the command line, it's just a little bit easier. I'm going to go ahead and create a new schema. I'm going to call this Cardstox _ cards. Yeah, seems like a reasonable enough name. Okay, and that's going to be a new database. And the reason we're making a new database is because with a microservice architecture, if you're doing it, I suppose, the correct way, and I'm air quoting here, each microservice should have its own database. So we're going to follow that rule. We're going to use the Cardstox database here, Cardstox cards database for our card service. Okay, so now I have my new database created, my new schema. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to get this thing running with our application. So I'll switch over to Spring Tool Suite here. And we left off here where we had this hello world endpoint we had created. But we need to hook up to our database now, so we have a little bit of work we have to do there. We are going to start with the build.gradle. And you'll see we have some things commented out here. We are now going to uncomment these things. So we have the JPA, our Liquibase core, and a MySQL connector. We're going to uncomment all those items. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a path in our application properties for Spring to know, well, Spring Boot to know where our changelogs are at. So if you're familiar with Liquibase, you're familiar with the whole changelog architecture. You'll kind of see how it works here as I go. So I'm going to open my application properties up, and we're going to add another property. And this is going to be called Liquibase changelog. Thank you, STS, for doing that for me. And we're just going to say class path :db/changelog/changelog-master.xml. This will make more sense in a moment. Basically what I'm doing, I'm going to create a folder here in my resources for db changelog, and then I'll create something, I'll put a changelog master in there. You know, if I'm using XML, you can also use YAML if you choose to use YAML. I just find it easier with Liquibase to use XML, but that's more our preference. So I'm going to create another folder in here, and let's call it db/changelog. Alright, and in here we're going to create a new file, and we'll say log-master.xml, and that's where our master changelog is going to be. And you can put all your changelogs in one file if you want to. I choose not to do that. I actually do with semantic versioning, which I'll show you how I do that in just a moment. The next thing we need to do is we need to tell Liquibase how am I going to connect to the database. So we need to create something called the Liquibase properties file. And what I could do if I wanted to is I could put all these in the application properties. I do find it cleaner to keep it separated. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file. I'm going to call it liquibase.properties. And Spring Boot already know how to read this, so we don't have to worry about that. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I have to switch back to my database because I made a minor, not mistake, but didn't do something I needed to do. So users and privileges, you see I have some users over here. We need a new user. I'm just going to call my user Cardstox cards, all lowercase. And for the password, I'm going to do the same thing. Cardstox cards. Cardstox cards. It's a weak password, but this is only for my local environment. I would never put a password or username or password like that in production. Security. Yep. I believe that's everything we need. We do need execute. We will need process and references. And I think that's good. So we'll apply that. So we have our new user. Now we can use him in Liquibase. So go back to my Liquibase.properties here. We'll say user equals Cardstox cards. And we need password equals Cardstox cards. If I were to put this in application properties, it'd be liquibase.user or liquibase.password and so on here. The URL for the connection is going to be jdbc:/mysql host:3306. Sorry, I'm drawing off there. It's hard for me to type and do this at the same time. So what did I call my database there? I called it Cardstox_cards. Okay, cool. So Cardstox_cards. A couple more here. Context. So if I can choose what Liquibase scripts to run here. So I'm just going to say dev in this case. And enabled, which I think by default it is enabled, but I like to have it here so I can easily turn it off. I don't have to go typing it. Is going to be true. So basically that's the on-off switch for Liquibase. I can turn it off and on. Okay, so we now have Liquibase configured. We have it inside of our build.gradle, so that's good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to build our changelog master. And I'm going to cheat here. I have one that I have already typed out just because I don't think you guys want to watch me type all this. So basically it's XML. I'm starting a changelog here. It's got, this is a ball boilerplate. It's going to be the same every single time. And this is what part's going to be different. So I do, like I said, semantic versioning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a folder called 0.0.1 for my first minor release. And then I'm going to create a changelog file inside of there. And then this is going that path is going to be relative to this file here. So it's pretty straightforward there. So let's go ahead and we'll create a new folder. We'll call it 0.0.1. I'm going to create a new file. I forgot how to do that. There we go. I'm going to call it changelog.xml. And I'm going to go over to the changelog master there. And I'm going to copy this because, once again, it's a boilerplate code. What's going to be different here is we're not going to have that line here. That one's going to be a little bit different. So what we're doing here is we created this folder here, the master, which is going to run a bunch of changelog files for us, the changelog scripts for us. And you'll see I put them in my folder here, that's 0.0.1. Then I have my changelog. So what I'm going to do is very similar to what we just did. I'm going to separate my scripts into their individual files. I'm going to add them to this changelog file. So when I call the master, it's going to call this one, which is going to call all the individuals. So I've extracted out stuff so we can easily organize and just kind of makes sense. So I think the first thing we're going to do is create kind of a, let's just create a table. It's not going to be a real table. I'm going to probably delete this script, but we'll keep it just as a kind of a proof of concept. So we'll create a new file, create first table.xml. So, like I mentioned, this is all boilerplate code, so we're going to need it again. Okay, so here's where we can actually start writing some stuff out. So what we're going to do, we're going to create something called a change set. And it has an ID, which must be unique to the whole project. So I'm going to call it create first table. It's basically, in my eyes, it's like kind of a description of what's going on here. The author is me, Jay Belcher. And there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is in XML, we're going to create a table. And the table name is going to be, let's call it test. This is going to be a table called test. Let's see, what should we add since it's a table that we're calling test? We should probably add a column, probably an ID or something like that. So let's say column, and it'll be an auto increment. Auto increment will be true. The name, I will call it ID. The type will be a big int. Okay, and just so you can see what constraints look like as well, so we'll say constraints. Oh, there it is. Okay. That shouldn't have been like that, though. Oh, actually, I think it would have. Yep. I'm getting a little confused, getting ahead of myself here. So, constraints. Alright, so it's going to be nullable. It was false. So it's an ID. It's going to be automatic, so it obviously can't be null. Primary key will be true. And let's see, the primary key name will be, we'll say test ID. And we'll move that over so it's a little more readable. Okay, there's a very basic script. The other thing I like to do is make sure I have a rollback. Not sure if it's going to be necessary with this guy. Let's see. See if I even want to do it. And we'll skip the rollback here. Because, yeah, alright. So what we're going to do also is we're going to change this context to equal demo. That way it will never run when I'm running in the dev environment. So you'll see that the first time I run this, it will not actually do anything. Because I'm running, if you remember my Liquibase properties, context is set to dev. And I'm running in demo, or this is only going to run in demo. So this will never technically run. So let's go ahead and test this out in just a moment here. And we will see what happens. See if it doesn't run. And then we'll change the context in our Liquibase properties to demo and see if it does run. So we need to teach our changelog.xml about this guy. So include, oh, file already pre-populated for me, thank you. So dots, and it's going to be create, and I guess not that smart, okay. First table, XML, and once again, relative to change file is true. Okay, we've taught this guy. And I believe that would be it. All right, let me get out of my folder here. CD here. Oh, wow. Documents, development, Cardstox. All right, and we have. It's going to be part of the cards project. All right, so Gradle, boot, run. What we should see is hopefully no errors, and yeah, I think we are actually going to get an error though, because I don't think I did my connection with Hibernate or JPA and all that stuff with my application properties. I still believe that's necessary. Yeah. Just confirm that. Exception during initialization. Liquibase configuration. Data source, yeah. So luckily I have like I said, I had a project I already tested this on because I'm not that foolish to just wing it that much. So let's go ahead and go to the application properties. Let's copy them over and just these three guys here. And let's see, card, stocks, one of our cards, card, stocks, cards, stocks, cards. Now I'm kind of questioning whether that is cards or card. I don't remember what I put. Here I put cards. Cards, okay. Oh, they must be don't match. Card, stocks, cards, card, stocks, cards. There we go. Alright. So that definitely would have failed because I didn't have everything I needed there. And cards, cards. Okay, I think we're good now. We'll try that again now that our data source should be set up. Oh, actually, let me go to Liquibase properties. Yes, it's borrow. Alright. We'll try that again. Okay, we can see the application is running, which is great. Let's check our database, make sure we don't have anything. So I'm going to go ahead and open this guy up. Tables. Uh-oh. That's not exactly what we wanted there. We did not want to test. But we did create it for us, so we know Liquibase is actually wired up correctly. However, the context didn't work as hoped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these tables. These two database change log tables here, those are used by Liquibase to know exactly where it's at with the database migration. Oop, I not want to truncate, I actually want to delete that. Truncate should actually be fine, but it's okay. Let's get rid of all that. Alright, so what I need to do is I'm going to take a peek. Did I make a change here? It is definitely dev there in context. And our Liquibase script here is under context demo. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I want this to work, so I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to figure out why that actually did work when I don't think it should have, and we'll come back to this. Just for one moment. Alright everyone, I'm back. Fix the issue. It really was something dumb, like usually it is. So the problem was that I had the context inside the Liquibase properties when that actually belongs in the application properties. So it's simple. All I did is I just moved it over here. You see liquibase.context. And I'm going to go ahead and run it. Actually, before I do, I'm going to show you that my database right now still has no tables in it. I blanked it out before doing this. And I'm going to go ahead and run this. And it is in dev. So what I should receive is those two Liquibase tables that it uses to migrate, but I will not see that test table. So I'll give you an idea what those tables look like as well, those Liquibase tables. Alright, so just about done. Okay, application's running. We can go to our database and we'll see if I refresh. We have two tables. We have both of these, and both of those are for Liquibase. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and change in this to demo. I will never really use this context, so that's okay. Why it's okay to leave it there. And one thing to note while this is building is a good practice is you always go forward migration with migrations. So let's say you added, like 2 sprints ago, you added a column and now you need to rename that column. You don't go back to your old migration and change that. You make a new migration to change that column name. Um, this makes everything more consistent and make sure everyone's on the same page. And not to mention you'll get some nasty errors from Liquibase too, though. You have to clean up. So, okay, there we got that ran. Go to my database, and we'll refresh, and we'll see we have a new table there. We have our test table. So I'll go ahead and open that guy up with just one column ID. Cool. So let's take a look at these two tables real quick so you get an idea what they look like at least. That's what the ID's for here. Liquibase uses it to track what I've done. Tells you where I ran it from, when I executed it, and a bunch of other information that it uses. And the other table is just tells you the state of that change log. Okay, well, that's it. So Liquibase is now set up with our service. Next video, we're going to start actually doing some real coding here, finally. So please, guys, don't forget to like, share the video, comment, put some nice comments of what kind of things you want to see into the comments. Reach out to me directly if you have to. I'll put my email address, as always, into the description. If you need help, if you have a question about something, or you need some advice on maybe an architecture, or you're looking to see if I can help you with your team, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always looking for extra projects. All right, guys, thank you very much, and until next time, you guys have a great weekend.